So this is an interesting poll that was recently released by the Pew Research Center about there being a growing share of voters that say that gender is determined by sex at birth and not something that you can change later on in your life. So it pretty much indicates that public support for transgenderism is going down significantly. Usually when it comes to like these hot social issues, they go up over time. Like when it came to black rights, it went up over time. When it came to gay rights, it went up over time. With this, we're seeing the exact opposite take place. They have done the same poll numerous times over the past 7 years, starting September 2017, and you can see the huge difference over that time period. You could see that in September of 2017, the amount of, so this is by registered voters. So the general public, the number may be significantly different, especially younger people that are not able to vote. Most of them are going to be like, yeah, trans rights. But, if we're just going by registered voters, 45%, so almost half of the population, half of the voting population, said that, yeah, it could be different. You can be transgender. Your gender can be different than what it was at birth. 45%. There's still a majority of people that disagreed with that. But now, going to April 2024, it's only, you go from almost half to just a little over a third of the population that believe that your gender can be different from what was assigned to you at birth. That is insane. And obviously, if you look at the partisan numbers, if you go down further on this chart and see Republicans, even 20% of Republicans were open to the whole idea of it. Now it's only 8%. And most shocking, Democratic voters, only about 60% believe in the whole transgender ideology. Wow. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that if people just said, hey, I want to be what I want to be, and that, like, just leave it at that, kind of like the whole gay rights thing, where, people obviously draw equivalency and kind of lump the two issues together, gay and trans, because LGBT, they're all part of the same acronym. The thing is, most people are like, okay, like, they can understand where these people are coming from, even if they don't necessarily understand the whole idea of being gay. They can understand the idea of wanting equality and wanting to be treated like everybody else and have equal protection, especially when it came to marriage. And, like, let's say a partner dies or something like that, like, marriage has certain perks and benefits that you simply do not have if you're not married to somebody. So people can understand that and resonate with that. When it comes to trans, it's not just one issue like it is with gay marriage or gay rights. Marriage seems to be like the biggest thing. That was like the big push. And obviously acceptance. But with trans, it's acceptance, but it's also, if you do not agree with the idea that someone who is born a man can become a woman, then you're a bigot, you're an awful person. We're going to try to force this on you in pretty much every aspect of life, because it's not just about marriage or about baking a cake. It's about having equal access to the bathrooms, having the trans women in the women's bathrooms, having the sports. That's another contentious issue as well. And there being a clear advantage, or disadvantage rather, for the people who are biologically female competing in these sports, and you have these trans women, born men, that are breaking records in these women's sports. So it's all these different things put together, and people are kind of just like, enough is enough. And the big thing, I think, is the kids. Fucking with the kids, people do not like that. Because what are they talking about? They're talking about, oh yeah, you shouldn't need the parents' permission. You should be able to give young kids, 12, 13-year-olds, puberty blockers. You should be able to give them hormones. You should be able to give them this. You should be able to give them that. They are not considered old enough to consent to sex. They are not old enough to vote. They are not old enough to serve in the military. They are not old enough to drink alcohol. But they're old enough to determine for themselves that they are they are a different gender than what they were at birth. That, you know, they could decide, yeah, I want to mutilate my genitals. They could decide, yeah, I want to do all these things, these life-changing things that there's no going back. Remember Jazz Jennings? That was like the big case. There's so many. And there are also, you know, it is worth mentioning that there are a lot of people who are regretful later on in life about going through these procedures and doing these things to themselves, and they wish they can go back, but it's too late. You can't. So once you mess with the children, all bets are off, and I think that is the number one thing, more than the bathroom issue, because I think, honestly, that is something that people can, you know, that alone people can just look past, even if it makes some people uncomfortable. Even Trump, when he was running for president, said, yeah, I don't care. Caitlyn Jenner wants to use the women's bathroom at Trump Tower. I don't give a shit. Like, it wasn't really a huge issue, but then obviously when you come to the athletics, which again, you know, how many people do you know that are really athletes? So even that is not as much of a needle mover for a lot of people. It still is like, people just look at it on the surface level and say this is ridiculous, right? But I think, you know, with the children, you don't mess with the children. And people are going to be fucking angry, and there's going to be blowback against this shit. And I think we are seeing that that's happening. Like, I kind of had a feeling that the acceptance and support for this movement was going down. It felt like it was going down, but I didn't really know for sure if that was the case. But now you could see clearly that it obviously is. And, you know, it is an issue that I've talked about a lot of times. I do not believe that people should be harassed, people should be bullied, people should feel, you know, because we do need to address the trans suicide rate. We need to address all those things and how they are just, you know, very vulnerable to that sort of thing. And violence against trans people is very high as well. And all that kind of homicide, right? So we need to acknowledge that as well. That this is happening, and we need to treat everybody with compassion. But we also have to be honest with the fact that a lot of these people, and when I mean these people, I mean broadly a lot of people who are like really like into this whole thing, and they're like, if you misgender anybody once, fuck you, you're a horrible person, you're a piece of shit, like that kind of thing, just shoving the whole thing down your throat. Not just that, but like really, really, really going after people that don't agree with every aspect of the trans movement. Like, you know, it's either all or nothing. That's the approach that these lunatics are taking. And when I mean lunatics, I'm referring to a lot of these left-leaning individuals that are like, yeah, social justice, you know, fight bigotry and all this kind of stuff. But a lot of the times, they're the ones that are not tolerant to other people who are different from them, people who think differently than them. They're the ones that are the most hateful, in my opinion. So, you know, and you know, I lost a lot of interest in doing political content on YouTube because of the fact that I was openly against a lot of the stuff that was being pushed. This was back in like 2015, 2016. And I think 27 is when my channel got taken. Well, I decided to take it down myself, but it received multiple, like someone mass flagged the channel, got multiple community guideline strikes, and the common denominator is that they were all videos discussing the trans debate and trans issues, and it wasn't me saying anything hateful. Like, it was flagged down as hate speech. Didn't say a single thing that was hateful. Just because I disagreed with a lot of the stuff that was being pushed, especially with the hormones and, you know, minors making these decisions for themselves. And I got taken down for that. And it really hasn't been the same ever since when it came to me expressing myself and feeling free and open to express everything that I believe. That one issue, I discuss it, and it's like, everything that I built over those 3 or 4 years. You guys remember Impolite Politics, that channel? There's some of you out there that remember it. It hasn't been the same since then. I've tried to come back to the political space on YouTube multiple times. I've created multiple channels since then. None of them have really panned out. And, I've never had as much fun as I did back then and just enjoyed myself and felt able to actually discuss these things. And now I'm just like, I've been feeling like I've been walking on eggshells ever since. And just the idea of losing all those subscribers, all those videos, it was a bummer. And it all had to do with me disagreeing with people on this one topic. Trying to be as respectful as I could, too. I mean, I was 17 years old when I was making a lot of these videos, so maybe I wasn't as respectful, actually, if we're going to be honest, as I could have been. But, there really was no hateful intentions. But that's the thing. There's always the assumption of you being a horrible person, you being hateful, and you being all these terrible things, when you're really just questioning the narrative, and you don't have any ill will towards these people, but you're not just taking it and accepting everything that they say at face value. They don't like that. They don't care about freedom. They don't respect people's ability to decide things for themselves. They're authoritarian as hell. So, you talk about democracy and all this shit when you want to make everybody submit to your will. Like, it's yeah, but I just thought that I was kind of going on a tangent there, but I do find these poll results very interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section.